Let's first start off before getting into today's trade. It will help to look at yesterday's trade. So, yesterday's trade, when we were trading this, we noticed that we had support at around 411. Okay, just keep that 411 price point in mind. Okay, so we had support there at 411. So I was targeting about 411.75 yesterday for an entry, based off of kind of what we were seeing during pre-market resistance. So when we took this trade, we got a nice little move and we broke this 412. Now this 412 that I have right around here, uh, this resistance right there at 412 came from pre-market, which is right here. So once we broke that 412, we went up here to 412.39. It was about a 15 to 20% move. I only captured 15% here. And then as this pulled back to the 20 EMA, I wasn't thinking puts because that 20 EMA was holding. I use levels along with indicators to help give me a guide of what I'm essentially gonna do, right? So because we were holding that 20 EMA support, I didn't jump into puts. So I waited a bit. And as it held that 20 EMA, it started to come back up. And lo and behold, what does it do? It breaks this 412 resistance. Once we break that resistance again, I get in on the following candle open and I ride it up to around here. And during this point, we start to see it plateau a little bit. Okay, so at around 412.80. Okay, and then it starts to come down. So I get out. This ends up being about a 25% call move. And then comes back, holds the 50, pushes up. Now, when it breaks here from 413, these puts are starting to look really nice. But just because it broke 413, I didn't want to jump in right away because all morning we were kind of holding that 50 EMA. Once it held that 50, that's when I took my trade and it went all the way down here, staying below the 9 EMA the entire rest of the time. Ends up being north of 100%. I only cover about 45%. I got out here, but I ended up going all the way down here. So it is what it is. But these levels you can see play a factor for 12, for 11. So let's see how those levels play a factor today, right? If we go and we look at today, here's 412, right? And we can see in the morning we drop right below that 412. And lo and behold, guess what level this is? 411, right? So once this candle closed below that 412 level, it was below the 9 and 20. I got in on the following candle open and took my put trade. Now we pull back a little bit, but I had a stop set based off of the high during the pre-market, which was around 412.30. So I'm waiting, I'm being patient. We got really close here with this wick, but I'm waiting, and then sure enough, keeps dropping. Now once it hits 411, that's when I take my first PT. Now, if we look here, that would be, let's change this from calls to puts. If we're looking at the 415 put, just during that move alone, this goes here from about 320, 325 or so, up here to where it peaks out about 38%. Okay. Of course, I don't get the full move, another about 25% or so. The 410s, though, paid off a lot better. So the 410s, those end up moving really nice. Those go here from about 40 cents up to about 80, about 100%. Of course, I don't get the full move. It ends up being about 60% return. So all in all, really good move on the way down. Now, we break that 411 and we continue down for a little bit, comes back up, and look at where that candle closes, right above that 411 again, which is support during this pre-market, and we saw on Thursday it was support there as well. So again, levels are important. You have to draw your levels in. Shoots up, and then where does it go? Kind of retest that 412 again. We start to see it wicking out, and then start to come right back down below 412. This could have been another put trade down here. And then the rest of the morning, we kind of stay in this zone here between 411 and 412. So at this point, we identify, you could kind of consider this chop, right? This is chop, as it's kind of just fluctuating in this zone. So then what I end up liking to look for is what I call clean breakouts or breakdowns. A clean breakout would be breaking out above that 412 a clean breakdown would go and retest kind of the low here at, it's like 410.75 to be exact, right? But I would target 411. Now let's see how it plays out. Look at, we just broke that 412 area, and now it's starting to look pretty nice for these calls, right? So all in all, that was the breakdown. I hope you guys liked a little bit of recap. I use levels, and what I like to look for is expand and go back out, and then go micro, right? So go macro and then zoom in to key points, and you'll see history repeats itself. That's why levels are very crucial. If you know how to draw them properly, you could set yourself up with a lot of great success. And then I personally use indicators as confirmation for my entries and my exits. So anyway, great first video back. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know feedback, what other videos you would like me to make, and happy to be back. Catch you guys later.